create insights and get much richer experiences into the hands of the consumer. Personal smart devices, there's a whole range, more and more devices coming to the market. They're becoming part of our everyday life, so they are becoming touch points where you can integrate the car with the digital life. And finally, the Internet of Things. I mean, one of the big buzzwords of these days, where the Internet of Things promises that you can seamlessly interconnect all these smart devices, not only within one industry vertical, but across industry boundaries, which makes it really interesting to basically connect the car to whatever IoT devices. Powered by these enablers, we think there are a few key playgrounds where we need to focus on. And we have basically, we are calling on three here. The first one is automated driving, starting with driving assistance systems, and in the not too distant future, basically fully automated driving. The second one, and that's the focus of today, is basically how we integrate the car into the digital life of the consumers through multiple digital touch points. That's the digital services part. And finally, the third one is building on the first two one, because we believe that autonomous driving and the digitalization of the car, the connected car, will require a totally different interior design and totally different interaction mechanisms in a radically different way than today. This leads basically to a situation where the automotive industry, which is a pretty closed environment where you have tier ones, the OEMs, and basically then the dealers, which is the traditional setup, will move into a much bigger setup, which is the mobility industry. And new players are getting in, and this has been discussed before already. Either these are the internet players, where there's a lot of talk about, or these are totally new mobility companies like the Uber or Lyft. For the BMW Group, this means we need to invent basically ourselves and reinvent individual premium mobility. And that's what we have done over the past 100 years. This year is our 100th anniversary. And there's new opportunities ahead in order to do that through digitalization. And mobility for us starts long before entering the car. It's not about apps in the car. It's basically making sure that the mobility experience of the consumer is the perfect one, whether you are driving your own BMW, whether you're driving a Drive Now car, whatever the mobility mechanism is. And we believe that the car itself is still the most prominent individual mobility concept, and that probably also won't change. But the car will change in itself and be redefined to be a much smarter device and be connected to the outer world. And we believe that highly personalized, context-sensitive, and very delightful consumer experiences, which are on par with the consumer electronics industry, can help us to drive this industry forward. One of the approaches we have is our personal mobility companion, BMW Connected, which we have just come out with at the CES in Las Vegas. And we envision the future of mobility as being really stressless, convenient, and integrated across multiple mobility concepts, but also multiple customer touch points. By minimizing for the customer resource requirements, energy, and also time and money at the same time. And for us, it's really the utmost to create delightful consumer experiences to meet our customers' demands. In order to do though, to create personalization, to create context, it is important to create basically a dynamic profile about the customer. And that's what we call the mobility graph. Basically, the consumer has a behavior, the consumer basically drives on a certain day to a certain destination. We have a lot of vehicle data about driving behavior, and all of that can be compiled to a very personal consumer profile, which helps us to come up with these personal and context-sensitive experiences, and we call that the mobility graph of our individual customers. And let me give you an example of how all this could work together in a very simple way. And I think now that will run, yes. So imagine you drive home and the car connects with what we call the Open Mobility Cloud. And the Open Mobility Cloud receives all information to support your driving during the trip, and in order to allow for personalization. And it itself links also to all types of content sources, whether it's weather, traffic information, personal data, such as your usual routes, and many other things. And in this scenario, BMW not only plans your trip, it also notifies you about changes throughout your trip and about the estimated time of arrival there. And your home at the same time will also be connected to your car, and when you arrive at home, it will be warm and cozy, and you have basically the connectivity between the home and the car. And this is a simple example of how this cloud basically manages and interacts with different IoT devices, different means, in order to create a seamless experience for the customer at the end.